it's me, Renee. I'm back. And yes, I decided to make yet another recommendation video. This time it's based on the bingo board for the Gilmoreathon readathon. I mean, yeah, it's just 1 week, but I don't know, I got inspired, so I have a lot of recommendations. So yes, I'm not going to do recommendations for all of the bingo boards because all the bingo boards, all the bingo all the bingo prompts, but I'm going to do it for some of them because, yeah, because I feel like it. And yeah, so let's start. The first one I'm going to do is an only child, which was in a way it's kind of wrong because I mean, yes, in the beginning Rory's an only child, but after a while she just gets Gigi. But at the same time, that's after a while, so and also she forgets Gigi herself. So I don't know, when it's that big of an age gap, does it count? Well, I mean, it does count because I have a half sister who's much older than me, but it's not like Gigi is very prominent in the TV series. So, yeah. Also, like Lorelai's only child, so there are other only childs in the series. So, yeah. Here I'm gonna go with a new recent read, being The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sanu Sangu Mandana. So this came out this year, and the protagonist is an only child, and like kind of like by the fact that how this world works, a lot of the people in this book are also only children, and yeah, it's just also an amazing read. I loved it so much, so much. It's also a read you'll fly by. I mean, it's no long book at all. It's 301 pages, so quite short. So yeah, it was also like works for prompt of reading a book. Well, no, you have to read a book under 250 pages. But yeah, it's a short book. So if you want a short book for this week, readathon, or just in general, check out this book. Very good. Now we have a longer book, but nevertheless still a good one. It is the Odin's Child trilogy. Here, as always, represented by their third book. I mean, it's a chunker, but it's very good. So the main character in this book, Kirka, is an only child. She's adopted. She just find her biological spoiler. I'm gonna say she just find her biological dad after a while, but she doesn't have. Well, maybe she just have some. But yeah. So she's like she doesn't have any full siblings. Not like half siblings doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah. Let's just move on, shall we? Don't like get into more trouble, like saying that half siblings and siblings aren't real siblings. I mean, yeah, that's a discussion. I mean, as I said, I have a half sister myself, and she's very much a sister, even though she's not a whole sister. It sounds like real, like whole sister. Like, yeah, we just share a dad. We still share love and a sibling relationship. So, yeah. Okay, let's move on, shall we? So next one I'm gonna do is multiple point of view. This one actually I could have gone for a lot of books because I love books with multiple point of view. So I own a lot of them. I've read a lot of them. Yeah, I have a little selection here because I can't always mention all the great books for all the prompts because then we will never stop. Then we'll just sit there till eternity. So, well, for eternity. But yeah. So here we have Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellafleur. This one came out 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago now. But I read it this year, last year. I read it recently. And yeah, it's a great sapphic romance. And it's a romance. It's told from both of the main characters' point of view. So it's both of the love interests. You see both of their point of view. So yeah. And then we have The Clockwork Scarab, which is in Steampunk series. This is the first in the series. And the main characters, there's two main characters. There's, wait just a moment, I just kind of Evelyn Stoker and Mina Holmes. Mina Holmes is the niece of Sherlock Holmes, and Evelyn Stoker is the daughter of Bram Stoker, famous author. And yeah, it's a very good series. This one is not long. Most of the books, well, the first few books in the series aren't that long, so you can easily pick them up if you like it for this readathon. Like, yeah, I do know I already like recommended a lot of books, so maybe you won't really recommend pick up lots of these books, but like pick them up now or later, doesn't matter. But here's some great suggestions. This sounds like I'm gonna be mad at you if you don't read the book I recommend. Of course I'm not, but yeah. Anyhow, and then we have, of course, The Named by Marion Curley. This is the first in her Guardians of Time series. It's told. This one is told from the point of view of Isabel and Ethan, and then later books kind of have more point of views, but this one has two point of views. And then there's some villains now and then, but like mainly it's those two characters. And this is a time travel series, in case you didn't know. And yeah, highly recommend it. And then we have The Duke Undone, another romance. This is a historical romance told from both the main character's point of view. I suppose you wouldn't really have a multiple point of view told from a not main character. Well, sometimes I suppose you get one from the murderer if it's crime. Anyway, that's just me being, yeah, going off on a tangent or thinking idea. But yeah, and then we have the American Royal series by Catherine McKee. So this one has several protagonists, and yeah, it has several different point of views. The point of views of all the siblings, because there's three siblings in the series who are American royals, like as it says in a series title. But there's also their friends and enemies and frenemies and whatnot. And yeah, this is the third book. There's a fourth book coming up next year, and then after that, a fifth book, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, yeah, that's kind of like my recommendation for multiple point of view. But yeah, I'm gonna do all the prompts, like all the bingo board prompts in this one video. So I have more recommendations for you guys. So now we have come to. Oh, you know what? I have. Yeah, you know what? I forgot two books, so give me a moment. Yes, I'm back. So we also have multiple point of view in Things a Bright Girl Can Do by Sarah Nichols. And this one is set around the suffragette suffragette time period in England. So like when they're trying to get a woman's right to vote. It has also it actually has four main characters, but it has three point of views. One of them is kind of like more mentioned, but she doesn't have her own point of view. And yeah, very good story. It is unknown, in case you were wondering. And yeah. And then we have The Boyfriend Project by Farah Rachon. This is her first in this trilogy. It's a romance. And yeah, there are multiple point of views from the two love interests. And yeah, it's just a very, very good book. Highly recommend it. Then, let's go on to the new prompt. We have sorry, just had to pick up. And then we have books um, published between 2000 and 2007, which was originally when Gilmore Girls was on TV in our lives for the first time. Uh, so yeah, you know what? Give me a moment. I'm back. So yeah, books published for the first time originally between 2000 and 2007. We have Sloppy First by Jessica Darling. I actually found this like when the whole series was finished, but yeah, this book was the first one. It came out in 2001 actually. And yeah, it's a YA contemporary read. Quite fun. I really enjoy it. Also, it's kind of one of those one of those rare books where the main character ages through the books. Like often in series, when it starts in high school, it ends in high school. This one starts in high school, and the last book ends with her being like 28. So we kind of follow her through her years, like her younger years, but still. And yeah, it's a good little read, but yeah. And then we have moment, The Shamer's Daughter by Marianne Helene Kobberburn, which is a Danish author. She's kind of like a Danish, I would say, like fantasy classic. Like everyone read this book in the early 2000s, but it's also it kind of blew up, so it exists in English and like a lot of languages. So don't worry if you can't read Norwegian, you can read it in English and Spanish and all languages, I think. Well, a lot of them anyway. Oh, probably not all of them, but a lot of them. And yeah, and there's actually also 2 movies because this is the first in a series of 5 books, 4 books, 4 or 5 books. I might be. Why am I suddenly backing out? But yeah, there's 4 or 5 books in the series, and it's yeah very enjoyable. Then we have. You might. Oh yeah, of course, The Named by Mary Curley. So this one came out in 2002, 2002, and then the next books came out like every year after that, and then there's a big gap, and then the 4th book came out in 2018. I want to say 18, yeah. But yeah, the first books in this trilogy, because okay, sorry, in the series, original trilogy, and then the 4th book came out. But yeah, the original 3 books came out in the early 2000s, between 2002 and 2007. I think the last one came out in like 2006, so yeah, definitely works for that prompt. And then we have, give me a moment, bloody, 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 doo-doo. Oh yeah, give me a little moment. I have it here somewhere, don't I? You know what? And of course, we have The Mediator by Meg Cabot. Amazing series. This one came out in like between 2002 to 2007. I think the last book came out in 2007. Yeah, the last book is actually called uh, it's actually called Twilight, but it came out a year before the big Twilight book. So it wasn't like it was cheating. That was. There's always going to be books with similar titles out there in the world. It's not possible that it doesn't exist like that. But yeah, I love this series so much. This is a bind up of the first 2 books. It's a 6-book series. It's a parallel romance between a human or mediator and a ghost. And yeah, it's just an amazing series. Also, Netflix is making this 2 movies. So yeah, excited for that. So yeah, then yeah. So that's all the books that came out like around that time. I mean, it was a bit difficult because I feel like a lot of books that are kind of like famous or like that at least that I love came out like after 2007 at least. But yeah, I had some to recommend you. And I suppose there's always been books coming out, so it's not like it would be impossible to find for that prompt. But yeah, but I found you some suggestions if you want to do this prompt. Then we have almost all female cast. So here I'm gonna go with The Boyfriend Project by Fair Version. So yeah, this is a love story between a cishet male and a cishet female. But there's also like her colleague. She also has like her mom in there. Like there's like females around them. So it's not just a book about these 2 characters. And it also centers around these 3 women, Samaya and her 2 friends, who become friends in the beginning of this book. And they're kind of prevalent for the whole book and the whole series. So yeah, this one definitely I would say features female cast. Not all female cast, but there's females in there. And now you have things a bright girl can do. So I mean, by just kind of premise of this being a story about suffragists, the females who want to get the right to vote. So it's all about females coming together from all different parts of life. It's about the rich females, about the poor females, the poor women, and the lesbians and whatnot. So yeah, this has a lot of females in it. It has some men, but I would say, yeah, the men actually in this book are in minority. So yeah. And then we have Clockwork Scarab. So as I said, this one has 2 female main characters, but it also has a female villain. It has a female mentor. It has females, yeah, I would say all over in a way. And yeah, very good series. highly underrated, but very, very good. And then we have Written in the Stars by Alexandria Butler. This is a love story between two females, two women, but they also have like their sisters and their friends and all that stuff. So there are definitely lots of females in this book. And then we have Heroine Complex by Sarah Kuhn. This is a story based around friends and enemies, and yeah, I mean there's romance in it with not just queer people, but there's still like there's a lot of females in this story and series. So yeah, definitely check out this book. Yeah, I have a lot of good female story sets. Let me see. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm also gonna mention Caribbean Heiress in Paris. So this one, it is a romance, yes, between a man and a woman, yes, but you have her friends, you have her sister. There's lots of females around this universe. You have his sisters and his friends. So yeah, lots of females. Also amazing read. And then you have Kiko by Holly Smale. So in the first one, Harriet becomes a model. So of course she works with other female models. She has a female best friend. She has a stepmom. Lots of females all over. Very good story. And yeah, I'm kind of gonna stop there because I mean I can go on for ages. I have quite a few books to recommend with female cast. I would say. I suppose it depends like how did you find female cast? Does it have to like be all females or just a lot of females or whatnot? But yeah. So yeah, there's that prompt recommended, and then we have title beginning with G because Gilmore Girls. Here, honestly, it was a bit difficult, but I found some. I found Geek Girl by Holly Smale. So yeah, the first book is called Geek Girl, and the series is called Geek Girl, and then the second book is called Geek Girl Modeled Misfit. So I suppose, like, if you're gonna read this prompt, you have to read the first book. Well, I suppose you could read any book because all the books are called Geek Girl, and like then there's a subtitle. But yeah, so yeah, and then there's also, I don't have it here, but there's also Graceling by Kristen Cashore, a very good high fantasy YA classic, I would say. And yeah, it's a first in a companion series. And the first, and yeah, Graceling being the first one. And then you have Fire, Victor Blue, Winterkeep, and this year Sea Sparrow. They're all set in the same universe in a different times in the universe, but like all the same set in the same world. So yeah, check out that one. I would highly recommend you. And yeah, honestly, that's kind of the two books beginning with. No, yeah, two. I actually also have one more book that I don't have. Yeah, I do. You know what? You know what? Yeah. The Guernsey Society for Potato Peel Pine. So Guernsey is like the beginning of this title. So yeah, also quite no long book at all. So yeah, quite a book I would recommend. So yeah, that's that really. That's that prompt. And then there's new prompt, new prompt. Next prompt being contemporary reads. Again, I have quite a few books here. The examples are Geek Girl by Holly Smale. Very contemporary, very contemporary. I mean, contemporary is contemporary. But yeah, I mean, the last book came out 2 3 years ago, so yeah, quite contemporary. Very good books. Highly recommend them. And then we have American royals. I suppose, could you call this contemporary because it's set in a world where you have royals in America? But except that, it's kind of the same world as ours. Like they have internet and it's set in one day or whatnot. They have climate challenges and stuff. I'm gonna call it contemporary. What do you call books like this? It's kind of like alternative contemporary. It's not. It's well, alternative historical books because it's not set in a historical time period. It's set in our time period. I don't know. Anyway, this book series, and then we have not that one. Yes, give me one moment. Prom Theory by Anne Labar. This one came out last year. So and yes, and it's contemporary, set in like modern time. So yeah, contemporary in both parts. Well, not like the book came out like 10 years ago. Is it historical? I wouldn't say so. Is it? Maybe. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking out loud. But yeah, anyway, this book actually has a main character who's with NLD, non-verbal learning disorder, which is something I had as well. So it's just I just love like talk about this book because it's one of the few books that has this representation in it. So yeah, I love that aspect of it, and also quite a cute, nice romance in it. It's a high school contemporary romance. I would say it's more contemporary than romance, but it's a romance in it. And yeah, blah 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 blah. Is that the romance, the contemporary reads we have for you guys today? No, you know what? No, it's not, because I also have Amelia Westlake was never here. Read it early this year. Came out last year, and yeah, amazing read. Kind of like think Moxie, but yeah, it's a book set in high school where like people try to stop the patriarchy, which yeah, I love that kind of trend nowadays in YA reads. So yeah, definitely contemporary, definitely highly recommend it. Then we have Theatrical by Maggie Harcourt. Very good contemporary read. Came out a few years ago. And then we have A Girl Called Shameless by Laura Stevens. Steven, sorry. And yeah, amazing book all about stopping patriarchy and slut shaming. And yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna stop there because I can go on for a long time. I mean, a lot of these prompts are easy to find lots of books with for. Some are a bit difficult, but yeah. Next prompt and next last one is a book with a wealthy family. The Gilmores are quite wealthy. There's no denying that, really. So here I'm gonna again mention Amelia Westlake was never here. This book is set in a private school in Australia. One of the main so this has two main characters. One of them is on a scholarship. One of them is rich. So yeah, one family here is rich. So I'm gonna count it. Then we have yeah the Wells and Wong series. So both of these main characters are rich. This book is set in boarding school in England, a private boarding school, and I mean it's kind of expensive to have people who go there. So yeah, the people who go there are rich, most of them at least. I suppose there might be people with scholarships in this book, but like yeah, like the main characters are rich people, privileged rich people, but nice rich people, but rich nevertheless. So yeah, blah blah blah. Yeah, and then suppose we have the At Somerton series, Sinners and Sapphires, Diamonds and Deceits, and Emeralds and Ashes. And yeah, this is set in like high society England around the First World War. Definitely lots of people who are rich in this universe. So yeah, definitely works. Then we have an author's debut book. So here, give me one moment. Here we have the book. Give me a moment. Yeah, then we have Geeko. This is the first in the series. She didn't write anything before this book, so yeah, this is her debut book. And then we have The Shamer's Daughter, the first in the series, but this being the first in the series was her first book. And I'm just going to mention them because I talked about what they are before. Written in Stars, very good book. First book of the author. Heroine Complex by Sarah Kuhn, amazing series. And Prom Theory by Anne Labar came out last year. So far, I don't think this is kind of first in series, but it's the first book from the author. Haven't heard anything more from the author, but yeah. And yeah, her debut book. And yeah, honestly, I think just gonna leave it at that because I had a bit more books planned, but like, can I go on forever? I suppose I could, but like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna stop there. And hope that you enjoyed these bingo board recommendations. And hope that you kind of can see that I really am excited for the gilmoreathon next week. A few days ago, though, I was kind of feeling a bit like unsure, like I was a bit in a reading mood ish, like in a reading slump, like I want to read but I don't want to read. And then I found a really good book yesterday, and then today I finished another book, and yeah, my reading happy place is back, so I'm quite happy with that, of course. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye.